Hello and welcome to another episode of Legends of FPV. Tonight we're joined by Botgrinder, one of the most and creative FPV pilots I think you'll find out there. He's got a style all his own, and tonight we're going to find out a little bit about where that came from, a little history of where Botgrinder started from, and how he got into FPV, and maybe we'll learn a little bit about who he is too. I'm going to join him into our conversation right now. Those of you who are joining us live, join in the conversation with your chat, and we will get to answers tonight. Hey, Bot, man, how's it going?
Oh, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is great. I like this side-by-side little thing we got going on.
Yeah, like our live broadcast here. Welcome to everybody.
There we go. All right, let's start this thing off awkward.
What's even more awkward, it's reversed, so it's like my hands are backwards. Welcome, everyone, here on the live stream. Join us in the conversation. Ask us some questions. We're going to get to your comments here as best we can as we're talking tonight, and as we're going through the conversation, learning about DJ a little bit as his history and FPV, and learn about what makes him so special. So, Bot, I want to kind of start off with maybe on your FPV history side. Could you tell me how you got started? What was like the entry for you into drones and FPV?
The Hubsan X4, I believe it was. You remember the little Hubsan drones?
Oh, yeah,
years ago. I had a little Hubsan. I just fly around the train tracks and then go home and watch the footage. And I did that for like a year. And then one day I was like, I wonder if people race drones. I had no idea about any other type of drone. And I Googled racing drone. And then I saw it was the FPV like in the woods. It was like racing in the woods, Star Wars speeder bikes in the video, like the old, yeah, exactly that one. I saw that, and then I saw a Zoe FPV video, and then I saw a DRL. Like their first season was out back then, and I just went, "Yep, there we go. This is what I'm doing from now on."
Awesome. So before that, did you have any kind of RC experience or anything related to RC?
No, I used to do like little model rockets with my uncle, not RC at all, but that was like the closest to it. And then I'd watch him build balsa wood planes for like weeks and then crash it like his first 5 minutes and just get really mad. So my experience with RC was just watching my uncle build and then destroy his planes. So I never wanted anything to do with it.
Right. So I guess what led you down that path? Though you got the little toy drone, and then how did you see those other videos you talked about? You just started like doing searches or something?
I just Googled racing drone to see if people did it. And then I saw that it was FPV, everybody was doing FPV. And then right then and there, like that day, I just started searching for stuff, and I bought a ZMR 250 kit that had the individual ESCs mounted on the bottom of the frame. So when you landed on your ESCs, just like the worst pre-built drone ever. But that was my drone. I loved it.
How long did that last?
I still have it. I've since like stripped the parts off it when I got other frames and stuff, but I still have the original frame with a lot of the original hardware on it.
So how many years has it been now that you've been flying FPV drones?
Next May will be 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really has. I feel like I just started. It's so crazy.
So FPV's been, you got into that, you kind of went head full steam into that, and you've been loving it since then. Before FPV, were you a hobbyist in terms of other things? Did you have some passions for other type of hobbies or anything like that?
No, I've never had a hobby in my life, legit. I mean, maybe I've done a couple little things, but I've never had like a full-on hobby I enjoyed. This is my first one. I'm 40 years old. This is my first hobby I've ever had in my life, but I've led a bit of a different life, a bit different than everybody else. I didn't always live in houses, but right before FPV, I was still kind of just like surviving, like living on squats and stuff and trying to just be alive. So I didn't have time for hobbies or to enjoy anything rather than dumpster diving and stuff.
So where were you living when that happened? Have you been in the same spot for a long time, or you've been moving around? Or
when I had that Hubsan X4, that was maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and I was just on the streets before that, and then I was sick of being on the street, so I found an abandoned house in Philadelphia that was bank owned for the past 20 years. So we just started living in that house, and I lived in the basement because my other friends had the top floor. So I was like living in the basement of a squat house, playing with my little Hubsan X4. And then I didn't have any FPV drones. I just had my little Hubson. And then, a year or two later, I didn't want to be homeless or squatting. So I hustled for an entire year straight, and I had a buddy loan me some money, and I bought a house for super cheap. This house I am in now for super cheap. And within my first year of being in this house, I found out about FPV. And then I was like, well, tight, I'm getting into this. I had some money and stuff. I was working. I owned my house, so I'd have to pay rent. So I had a bit of extra money for FPV. And then just since then, obsession. I've never been so overly obsessed with something. I've never been so passionate about something as I am FPV. It's just crazy, like how it fills every little thing for me. You know what I mean? Like I used to skateboard, so it gives me that crazy, like, I'm behind the Walmart, I might get kicked out kind of feeling, but it's super harmless. It's freaking FPV. And it is also like just something to put all my time and energy into. I like editing the videos. I like building the drones and flying them, Yeah. Not rebuilding so much, but I like a fresh, clean build.
Yeah, that excitement of kind of like how's it gonna do after you
the
build
possibilities. And then I don't want to fly it when I'm done. I'm like, man, it looks so good.
That's the problem. The nicer they look, the less you want to fly them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as you touched on, your history before FPV is different than maybe a lot of people. Do I remember? Was there some kind of Vice article related that you? What was that?
That was. That was maybe a decade ago or so. I was homeless, but I started a Tumblr while I was homeless. That was just a photo Tumblr of other homeless people doing like pretty crazy stuff, like pretty not safe for work stuff. And I would just have people submit photos of them. It was like old punk rock homeless kids, like crust punk train rider kids and stuff. They'd just submit photos of them doing like the wildest stuff, and I'd put it on my website, and it got huge. Like literally overnight, I made the website, and 24 hours later, at the Tumblr I made, and it had like 6,000 followers, which is pretty crazy for overnight, especially for me. You know what I mean? Just some homeless jerk making this freaking Tumblr on a crappy old laptop.
By some bigger sites that pushed it around, or
yeah. Then like everybody is pushing it, and then it got huge. Like my friends were in college at the time. They'd be like, dude, these like random yuppie ladies are talking about your website right now in science class, and I'm like, yes, that's so awesome, So then this whole thing made me $0 too. I made like no money off the damn website, but then Vice picked it up, and Vice did an interview with me just about, they called me like the most famous homeless guy in America or something like that, just some little cheesy titles. But so I did a whole Vice interview and article with them.
This was in the Philly area too at the time then, or you were somewhere else?
I was staying in Philly. I was in my friend's basement. A lot of basements in Philly. I was staying in my friend's basement at the time when I did that interview. It was like 10 a.m. I was so not ready to like try to sound intelligent. So I told the interviewer, I was like, make me sound smarter. And he did. He did a great job. And I was like, that's not the way I talked at all. He killed it and made me sound smarter than I am. Thank you. Thank you, Gordon.
We all need an editor every now and then. Yeah, that'll help.
Hey, I see Artem in the chat. What's up, Artem?
Hey, Artem. Yeah, I got a lot of people in here.
Johnny 5. What's up, everybody? Skidoosh.
Bobby, Thomas. Thanks for joining us, everyone. So, but I'm kind of curious, what with FPV is that drew you in? Like, what is it that keeps you flying and wanting to fly? I mean, 6 years is a long time for anything that you want to do. So, what has it been for you that makes that so enjoyable?
I keep relating it back to skateboarding, and I feel like it's the same thing. When I skated forever, even on the streets, I had my skateboard. I'd go to skate parks, which was kind of cool being a homeless skater, because you could go to like all the famous parks your parents wouldn't drive you to all over the country. You could just kind of hop a train and go to them. But it's the same kind of thing. I was just incredibly passionate about skating. It's what I did like the whole first half of my life. And FPV now just feels that way too. It's what I do. It's just what I do for fun. Now what I do for a career, it's what makes me feel fulfilled. If I go out and I have a super good day of ripping, I nailed some tricks or I did something new and I have a really great edit I'm proud of, like that's just incredibly fulfilling to me. That's what I want to do. It feels right. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of time in my life searching, rambling around, trying to just figure out what the heck is my role in life, in society. And now I think I've kind of found it, at least for now. That's what I'm doing for now, and I really enjoy it. I don't know what's keeping me in it. It feels right. It's just what I do. I never think about doing anything else. I worry that it'll go away, but I don't ever think about doing anything else. If I could just fly FPV forever and hang out with my friends and stuff, I would do it.
I think most of us share your opinion. That sounds like a good life to have. Yeah, man. How would you describe like what you do? You feel like you're a content, like you're a creator, or you're more of an like it's more of like an artist type feel for you? Like how would you describe what you do if somebody asks you?
I tell people all the time, I'm like, I literally don't know what my job is. Like, I know where my money comes from, but I literally don't know what my job is. I guess I would, I don't want to say YouTuber because I feel like that comes with, certain people think a certain thing when you say YouTuber, but
Yeah.
Lately I've been saying I have a comedy channel. I'm saying I just have a comedy channel on YouTube, but that happens to be very drone heavy. You know what I mean? But when I look at my channel versus a lot of other people's, I feel like I'm one of the only one like really trying to be funny, and that's part of my personality, but I also I try hard to make the videos interesting and funny. If anything, I want people to come away and be like, that was good. I had a good laugh watching that Botgrinder video, whatever.
I think
Final answer,
yeah.
I have a comedy channel. Final answer.
Your comedy channel. Perfect.
Yeah.
Speaking of your channel, and for those of you who don't know it, I mean, it's just Google search Botgrinder or look on YouTube, you'll find them. But you definitely do stand out compared to a lot of FPV channels. Like you said, you have a lot of content that features yourself talking. You're going through kind of your day. I think you have a lot of like raw cuts where it's not like heavily edited in terms of trying to get the perfect whatever sentence. You're just real raw with your audience, and I think a lot of that leads it being funny. I find it enjoyable. You have all those kind of quick cuts and the mess ups and stuff. You leave them in there, and I think that makes it feel real fun to watch and entertaining, like you said. And then it's not just, hey, here's a drone flying through a bando. It's like your drive over there, your experience, like you feel like you kind of went on a trip with you during it.
Thank you. Good. I try to do that. I try to make it feel like the audience is coming for the trip or whatever. And I do that because I grew up. I started my FPV career watching like Stingy and Mr. Steele and Schizo and the whole Atlanta crew and everything. And their videos made you feel like you're part of the crew going on the adventure with them. You know what I mean? I loved that. So I want other people to feel that with my crazy Philadelphia, Delaware, New Jersey crew. And New York and Maryland.
I mean, it worked for me when I watch your video, so I'm assuming it works for others too.
Oh, thank you.
That's really cool to hear that. So I have a few videos from yours that maybe we can just share as we're streaming here, and then I wanted to get your thoughts on what the video is about, maybe what was happening at that time, and maybe jog some memories. That sound good to you?
Yeah, totally.
All right, let me bring it up here. Hang on.
Oh, we almost hit 100 viewers. That was my goal. We're at 95, 5 to go.
Nice. I see over 100 because I see all of the other ones too that are chiming in. We're over 100. Thank you, everyone. Keep it coming. Share
this spot.
Share the stream. Yeah, do you see what we're seeing here?
This is Atlanta. What is
this spot?
This is that spot in Atlanta.
So this is, I mean, you said you grew up with the Atlanta crew in terms of your FPV kind of learning, and then now you're in Atlanta flying with them, right? So that was kind of like full circle at that point.
I mean, and I could Singer Swarm is a friend. Somebody I grew up, I keep saying grew up. I mean, somebody that I started, watching my FPV career, and Stingy's a friend. I've stayed in his apartment. He's come to my house and hung out before. You know what I mean? That was like the most mind-blowing thing because he was my first real like FPV buddy that I idolized. And when I met him for the first time, he was like, dude, I love your channel. You seem like so carefree. It reminds me of when I was young and punk. And I'm like, dude, I love your channel because you seem like you have your stuff together. And I want to I want it to be like better at everything. So we, had mutual admiration for each other. And now we're homies and stuff. It was great. But that's awesome. This just going to Atlanta, seeing the spots that I've seen everybody fly and hanging out with them and flying them. There's so many good spots in Atlanta. And that one's definitely one of them. Those little squarey things. I backwards dove them before cricket. I would just like everybody to know. I dove them backwards before cricket. We had just woken up and I was sleepy eyed. Like, I'm doing this before cricket can. Like, barely got out there and nailed it.
Yeah, cricket's known for the reverse dive stuff, but that's cool to hear that you did it too. Nice. And you did it first.
Yeah. I try to one-up him whenever I can. It's really hard.
So this was about a year or two ago?
Yeah, I think it was about a year ago. I like to go to Atlanta a couple times a year, but a few people moved away, and it's not like just a big crew like it used to be. So it makes it a little harder, but we still try to get everybody together.
Oh, nice. Look, I'm getting an ad. Perfect.
Oh, an ad on my video. What the heck is that?
Yeah, somebody making money, not you.
Wow, I don't enable video ads at all. They're all disabled, but I guess once a video hits a certain view count, YouTube does whatever it wants.
So this spot looks like it was a construction site. What was that flying there?
Construction sites are great. This day, I think we all had a pretty destructive day, but I don't think anybody lost anything. This one, let's see, is this still the Atlanta video? I think this is Baltimore, actually. No, this is Atlanta because Mr. Steele rips here. Yeah. This day, I remember walking a lot that day to get my quad from inside of there. Construction sites are great, though. There's just so many holes and gaps and things to fly through.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what's your kind of favorite style or location of flying? Would construction be one of the favorite ones then?
Yeah, definitely. Unless there's a fence around it and it's hard to get your quad. But ones
Right.
where they trust you and there's no fence on the site are great. Yeah, I had to walk up there to get my quad back. It was super scary. My favorite stuff is really just dive gaps, like all day. Give me a good, office park with a bunch of trees to juicy flick through and some dive gaps to dive, and I'm happy. Some wall rides.
So have you had any, it made me think of recoveries. We've all crashed a lot, and the more you push it, the more you tend to crash. Have you had some sketchy recoveries of like trying to go find your drone somewhere where you
Yes.
feel like maybe I shouldn't be here?
I've feared for my life for sure. There's a Quartermaster Plaza, just a little strip mall up the way. It was my old night flying spot, and there's a big sign that's a dive gap. And twice I tried to dive it, and twice I crashed on the roof, and twice I almost died trying to get the stupid thing back. It was so dumb. The worst one was, there's a construction site next door. Quad crashed on the roof. It had been lightly like raining off and on, and I dragged this huge piece of chain link fence I found at the construction site all the way over to behind the store and put it up against the wall to climb up the wall to get on the roof, but it wasn't long enough, and there's a steamroller right there. So I set it on the steamroller, which lifted it up just enough so this chain link fence is precariously balancing on the steamroller and against the freaking side of the building. And I climbed up it and I got on there and I got my drone. But then I realized like there's really no way to get down except kind of sliding off and trying to catch the fence. But I was worried it would slide back off the steamroller and kill me. So I just I threw my quad down and I kind of got off the side of the building and I wiggled myself back till I started sliding off the building. And I caught the chain link fence as I was falling with my hands and feet and climbed down. And it was like crazy heart thumping, sweating. I felt sick. Like I felt, I was going to fall off and crack my darn head open or something. So I just felt crazy weird. And I haven't been back to that spot ever since then. The first time I crashed on that roof, I borrowed a scissor lift that I found and I just scissor lifted up to the roof and got it and left the thing behind the building and took off. You don't need a key for them, apparently.
This right there, you were kind of walking over a skinny part about 15 feet up. Wouldn't want to fall off of there.
No. I hate losing my quads. I won't leave them behind. Oh, here's Josh Bardwell's parkour. If you didn't know, his other skill is he's amazing at parkour. Look at that. So majestic. Wow. Majestic like an orca. Oh, and a little tumble too. Nice, Bardwell. I'm glad you played this video. I had forgotten about this.
I had to. I hadn't seen that in a long time. That's funny.
But I've spent literally 5 hours straight, 4 to 5 hours straight looking for a drone in the bushes because I don't want to lose it. I've only lost one in my career, and I've almost lost a lot.
Almost lost a lot. Yeah, that's
I'll always find them.
That's good. How about, okay, I got another one here. This was more of a recent video that you did. Let's see if this one.
Oh, my science experiment. We were the first people to successfully send a tiny whoop into outer space using a hobbyist grade rocket. Now, whether or not you believe that happened is on you, but I'm going to stick with it. We sent the tiny whoop to outer space using this rocket. Shout out Captain Cannoli for use of the rocket.
So how did this idea come to be? Is this something like you're just sitting around and you're thinking this would be awesome to do? Did somebody else bring you an idea and you say that sounds fun? Or
I steal all my ideas from the Discord users. I have a Botgrinder Discord and everybody in there is incredibly talented, and all day they'll just say funny things and I just lurk it and I steal their ideas and I make videos and take all credit for it. So like 80% of my video ideas come from the Discord users in the Botgrinder Discord.
Oh, it sounds like a nice deal for you. Then you get all the nice ideas and all the credit. Perfect.
Yeah, it's really good. Shout out
you guys
Discord.
Aren't part of your Discord. Join now so he can use your ideas.
Yeah, if you have good ideas, join my Discord and give them to me, and I'll do them. And maybe I'll shout you out. Sometimes I forget though. Sorry.
So how did this even technically work? I was trying to look at it. You had a rocket, and then you tape it to it, or is there some mechanism that the drone?
No, it's just good old double-sided sticky tape. But then the key is you double-sided sticky tape it, but then you pull it off a little bit. And you just pull it off a little bit, and it's still stuck on there. It works.
What's your goal? You're trying to launch, and then the drone flies off of the rocket?
the idea here was the drone goes up, and when it pops, it separates the nose cone so the parachute comes out. When it pops, it would launch the tiny whoop up, and this whoop had an issue where it stuck at full throttle, so that's why it's the perfect space whoop. So the rocket would pop the nose cone off, the whoop would shoot up, Izzy would arm it, and then it would be full throttle, and that would continue carrying it to the atmosphere, and then gravity takes over, and then it just orbits the planet like it is now. It's orbiting the Earth right now, maybe Mars, I don't know.
Out with the Starlink system and stuff, yeah.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah, those the Starlink flashes you see, one of them is the flight controller from this Nanohawk.
Awesome. All right. Well, I won't spoil it for all of you. If you want to watch it, go check out Botgrinder's YouTube, and you can see what happens when he sends the drone to space.
It's amazing. You won't believe it. It's crazy.
All right, I got another one here. This is one from a year ago as well. Let's see. We were talking too. This reminded me before the stream. Your videos all have pretty entertaining tracks on them, audio tracks on them.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that, like why that's important to you, and what does that do for the video?
It really because so basically you can use royalty-free music and make ad revenue, or you can use other artists' music, songs that you like, but you can't make any ad revenue. And when I started my channel, I decided I'd rather use music that that helped the mood of the video, or that helped tell the story in my video. And I try to use songs that if I'm in another city, I'll use an artist from that city or state or whatever, or I'll use a song that has a little something to do. Billy Hackett does that a lot too. Billy Hackett will use songs that have to do with the video. And I'll try to do things like that. Just to give it a little extra dimension in the video, Like there's nothing wrong with making ad revenue and doing royalty-free music, but so many people do it, and so much royalty-free music is so bad, and people just use the same one in all their videos. You can hear the same song in literally a bunch of videos because they're not that original. I like old punk rock, and I like old 90s hip hop, and that's what I like to use in my videos. So I'm going to use it and just not make any ad revenue. I rely solely on my Patreon anyway, and people on my Patreon for money. So I don't really, Well, earlier I said I make like maybe $30, $40 a video if I did monetize, and that's like max, like realistically probably like $10, and that's not worth it to me. I'd rather use good music. And the amount of people that have thanked me for turning them on to good music and new artists is totally worth it. It's totally worth showing people good new music that I really like than making a few extra bucks or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I mean, I think it takes the video to a whole nother level once you kind of have a track that you're nodding your head to, or you're kind of feeling it while you're seeing the flight. It amplifies everything a bit more than if it's just kind of background noise. Yeah.
This video here too, that part when I was in the band, I think I was using a Del the Funky Homo Sapien song, and that would not have been the same with a generic, cinematic YouTube song or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Power Loop
tell me about this. Tell me about this spot. Like, what was this, and what were you wanting to do here?
This is the Bud plant. I went here because I wanted to power loop a moving train. We went here specifically. I set out to do this. This was one of the only trains, and I did it super ugly. And I was like, oh no, man. We came all the way here to power loop a moving train. I got to get it clean. So this was the payoff right here. This is a Bud plant. It's an old like steel factory or steel mill, something like that. It's been abandoned for 20, 30 years. A lot of graffiti goes on here, a lot of photo shoots. People do like amateur wrestling shoots in here, and we fly drones. A company actually bought it about 3 years ago. A company bought it. I was in there walking around, and there's these dudes in petticoats and suits. And I was like, yo, what are y'all doing in this bando? Like, you should probably get out of here. And like, we own this. What are you doing in here? And I was like, oh, I'm just flying my little drones, man. Like, my bad. You new owners, huh? And they're like, yeah, what are you doing? And I showed them, like, oh, this is really cool. And I was like, yeah. And I like doing it here. Like, do you mind if I come in here? And they're like, sure, man. You can come in here up until we start developing it, and then you have to get out because we're going to board everything up. So now is when they're starting to board everything up, and I can't fly anymore. But for about 3 years, I had permission from the property managers to fly here. I was even in there one day, and a gardening crew came through to kick me out. And I was like, no, I got permission to be here. And he's like, from who? And I was like, from the 2 New York dudes in suits that own it. And he's like, oh, okay, you know them, right on. Well, left me alone. Like, I could have just made that phrase up.
Have you had any situation where you are getting booted out of a location that you were flying?
Yeah, it happens now and then. What I try to do when people, I see them coming up like angrily, is just try to show them the goggles as soon as possible, especially if someone's flying. Because as soon as you put it on and see what we're doing, most people forget that they were mad at you, and they're just like, "Whoa, what is this? Like, you have a camera on there?" It really is kind of like mind blowing for the first time. But I've skateboarded and been kicked out of everywhere in the country, so I know somebody comes up, be the most polite person you've ever been in your life, and just change their attitude as quick as possible. Because especially I'm aware of the way I look, and I'm like behind your building doing something maybe sketchy, you don't know what it is. Somebody comes up, I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? Flying my drones? Have you ever seen FPV drones before? Like maybe on ESPN or something?" I always say that. You ever seen racing drones like on ESPN? If they're like, "Yeah," I'm like, "Well, this is one in real life." Most of the time people are pretty stoked to see it, but sometimes they'll just be like, "Get out of here. I don't want to even talk to you."
Right. Crash Bandicoot says Bot introduced me to Sparkmaster Tape. Amazing.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's an artist that I really like. It's a rapper that I've used in a ton of my videos. That's a secret too. If you want to use good music and not royalty free, a lot of artists, underground hip hop especially, won't copyright their music, so it doesn't get flagged as a copyrighted song by YouTube's algorithm. And Sparkmaster Tape is one of them. His whole thing is like, he's not a major label. He doesn't care about getting big. So all of his music metadata, most of his music metadata doesn't have copyright in it. So you can use it on YouTube or whatever. I don't know if I've ever told anybody that. That's a secret. That's why I use a lot of Sparkmaster.
How do I guess that's cool. Thanks for sharing with that. You guys don't use it. It's only Botgrinder can use it. How would people find music like that to even use though if they're wanting to go find music that's not going to have a royalty issue?
It's hard.
It's still good. Yeah.
You can go to Bandcamp and you can search by sometimes if you search by free, a lot of the free music will be copyright free, or you can just search like no copyright. I think that works on Bandcamp. It might not work anymore, but I feel like I used to do that. You can go to some like SoundCloud will have them sometimes. Most copyright free music is just generic stuff. You really have to find like an anarchist punk band, or like a hip hop label that's super anti major labels, because you have to go out of your way to make it not copyrighted. You have to go and find the button and click it. If you just upload it, it'll automatically be copyrighted.
Right. Is there a way if you like contact the artist, even if it is copyrighted, that they can give you permission somehow? Or is that a whole ordeal?
No, they can, and then you just have to message YouTube or email them or whatever and prove it. I've never done it. It sounds like kind of an ordeal, but apparently if you can, and it wouldn't even be the artist, it'd be the label. You know what I mean? Because if you're just dealing with an artist, they probably didn't copyright it in the first place. If it is, a label probably owns the music, and then you got to go deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like people lose rights to their music real fast when you sign to a label.
I can imagine. So were you ever you said you're like into music and stuff. You ever in a band or ever did anything related to music?
Yeah, I've been in punk bands for like past 15 years or so. I'm just not in one anymore because I turned 40 and I decided I don't want to do that anymore. It's a little too much for me. And I've been in like grindcore metal bands, so it's just I sing, so just screaming as loud as you can over the instruments, and I'm done trying to do that. I'm done having my voice blown out every single show I do. I can't talk for a week. I've been in a couple bands since I started FPV, and I did a vlog one time where there was no flying. It was just me going from Philly to Pittsburgh to play a show with my band, and it did pretty well. People seemed to like the video. I was like, the first time I ever done a non-drone vlog, but it was a pretty good one. It was a pretty fun time.
That's cool. And you were always doing vocals in the bands?
Yeah, I can't play. I've tried to play guitar, drums, banjo, ukulele. I think I tried the fiddle a little bit once. I'm not musically inclined, but I can yell really loud on beat, and that's perfect for grindcore.
How about tambourine?
I'd probably mess that up somehow too. I could probably somehow mess up playing the tambourine. I've had friends try to show me everything. I try to play guitar and banjo, and like my hands just can't. My hands don't do that. They are not dexterous enough. Whatever that word is.
Yeah, dexterous.
I don't have my fingers don't work that good.
What's your radio grip like?
I'll thumb. I thumb like I'm playing a PS4 all day.
Okay. And is that inspired from gaming previous to flying drones, or the other way around?
It probably is. I've been a gamer since I got the NES in 1986, and I've been playing games since then. Even homeless, I'd always have a Game Boy to play games on freight trains and things. So I've been gaming my whole life. Probably is why I'm a thumber.
I had an original Game Boy. Very good, very good. What's some of your favorite games? You got some favorites that you still play today?
If I pick up and play retro games now, I'll get bored 30 minutes in. I have like ADHD or something now. I can't do old media. Old video games, old TV, old shows are just too slow for me. I need like the modern, fast paced stuff, I guess, is where I'm at now. But
What's
I'll
some
play
modern ones?
modern ones. I was playing a lot of Warzone, but I deleted it because instead of making FPV videos, I was playing Warzone. It was a kind of a serious addiction for real. It would suck. So I deleted it because like I can't trust myself to have this game. What I like play, what was it? Dead by Daylight is this game where you have to like escape from a serial killer. It's like 4 people versus one like monster
Oh
guy.
yeah, I think
It's pretty fun.
Schizo was playing it at one point that
Yeah,
he was
yeah, yeah.
showing me.
Exactly. I played with him a bit. I like that. I'll just play whatever battle royale games are out, except for Warzone because I deleted it. But a new Metroid just came out for Nintendo Switch, so that's all I've been doing is playing that like every night.
Nice.
I like me some Metroid.
I got another video here. Let's see if you recognize this one.
Oh, this is the school, the infamous school. Hey, what's up, Keith? This is an abandoned school. My buddy actually was visiting me. Oh, nice backwards. Dang, that was good. My buddy was visiting me in town, and we were going somewhere else, and he had us take this weird road I'd never been down, and we drove by this, and I was like, oh, hang on now. And this is like 2 miles from my house. This is like the perfect bando. And I've been going here so long. All the cops, all the neighborhood watch, anybody that could even say anything knows who I am and who the drone people are. So we just, whatever we want, we can go out here and just hang out and stuff. It's awesome.
So this is like an abandoned high school?
Yeah, it's an old high school that some of my neighbors actually went to high school there, but it's been abandoned for I think about 10 years or so, maybe a little less. Just sitting. The Philadelphia school system has no money, so they just sit. But it was filled with graffiti. Just the entire thing was not that color. It was the color graffiti. The entire thing was. I thought it looked pretty cool. I'm a fan of it, but the neighborhood watch across the street didn't like it, so they recently painted it. And the whole thing, it's so bright now, the sun hits it. It's hard to look at, but it'll be covered up again soon. They just told me I saw them, and they're like, as long as you don't do graffiti, you have all the fun you want flying your drones. Like, yeah, no problem, no problem. Like, look at this, all these little gaps to dive and staircases and everything. Awesome. All the basketball hoops you can dive.
When you go flying spots like this, do you tend to like to go solo yourself? You have kind of a group you go with?
I'm flying. If it's during the week, I'm flying alone because everybody else has to work, unfortunately. But I love flying in a group. I hate flying alone. My first about year and a half, 2 years of FPV, I flew by myself because nobody else around here flew. Like 6 years ago, 5 years ago, there were as many people as there is now at all. So I'd always fly by myself, and I hated it, man. I love flying in a group. I love flying with friends. That's why when I met Cricket at the first International Open, and he said he lived in Baltimore, and I was like, it's only 2 hours away, man. And I was up there every weekend meeting up with him to fly all the time. As long as I fly with somebody else, I'm good. Because, you get stuck on a roof by yourself, it feels really bad. You get stuck with the buddy, no problems. Figure this out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I think that's one of the really cool things about FPV. Even though it's something you can do solo, I think doing it as more of a social activity does make it so much more fun, and getting to find other people that are doing what you enjoy to do as well, sharing ideas and getting to hang out. I find that really enjoyable too.
And just pushing each other, like maybe there's a hard gap or a trick I wouldn't do unless somebody was like, hey man, I bet you can't do this, or like, hey, we should try to do this. Just push each other.
When you're flying live like this, do you have music in the background or headphones on, or what's the situation like while you're flying?
I can't do headphones. Every time I try to do headphones, I overestimate my skill or I go too fast. I get way too into it if I use headphones directly in my ears, and every time I just crash right away doing something dumb. But I like to play music and speakers in the background. Although somebody broke into my car recently and stole my speakers, so I'm in the market for a new one. But if I'm like really trying to get a good rip, put a speaker, put some music on there and go rip.
Mm-hmm.
I can fly just fine. Like I can talk to people. I can have like a crazy good rip while I'm just having a conversation with the homies. Like I'm so used to flying and talking to people now that I fly in groups that I'll just like, because before if I was like going to concentrate, like I have to get a 1-pack rip for a video, I'd be like, don't talk. Let me go stand over here or whatever. But now it's like, oh yeah, right on, and keep flying, whatever. I'm just so used to doing tutorials and talking while I'm flying. Now it's like no problem.
That's cool. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us on the live stream tonight with Bot. We do have a promotion going on right now. It's short term Thanks for Botgrinder joining us. If you're on GetFPV and you put something in your cart, like some of these BQE BotFX frames, for example, put in code Botgrinder. You're going to get 5% off your order. You'll see that discount immediately applied to your cart, and that's good for the next 4 or 5 days here through this week. So GetFPV, put in the code Botgrinder on the coupon code, and you'll save a little bit of cash. Speaking of some of these products, Bot, you've been involved in a lot of different products over the years, and I know you have motors out now that are coming out, like a new version. You've had some motors in the past. Can you tell me a little bit about the new motor? Then I'd love to hear about some of your previous products too that you've worked on.
Yeah, the new one is the Botgrinder V3 motor. So we've had 2 other ones. And I started off flying 4S. I didn't want to switch to 6S because I was like, oh, it's too expensive and I don't want to whatever. And then when I flew my first 6S pack, the throttle resolution alone, I was like, okay, I get it now. I get 6S. So from then on, the V2 and the V3s have all been 6S motors, but I also make a 4S version for everybody that's still on 4S and new pilots that want to start off in 4S and everything. And I just try to make them to be the strongest freestyle motor I can make for the price. You know what I mean? Like a premium motor, a typical motor is around $25, $26. I try to price mine like $20, $21 if I can, because I feel like that extra few dollars, like when I make products, I make what I want to use and what I would want to spend on it and everything. You know what I mean? So making my first frame, that frame's like $86. I was buying $20 clone Martians from Banggood. I'll admit it, whatever. We all did when we started, right? You're allowed to buy like one clone frame when you start flying FPV. So I did. But then once I got a BQE frame, I got their 210. It was an $80 frame. But the quality, I was amazed. I was like, oh my God, this is what a quality frame feels like. And they got me with the tagline. It was like, we make frames for bashing urban environments or something like that. And it's like, that's me. I live in a city. I need a strong frame. So I got the BQE. And now when I make my own, I'm like, yeah, it's $80, but this frame will last you 3 years. Like you won't even break an arm in a couple of years. It is just an urban concrete basher. It's what it's made for. It's priced accordingly, you know? And you could buy a cheaper, more expensive frame, whatever, with varying degrees of quality. But this is what I use. So I make it for what I want to do, which is crashing a lot into concrete and things. The motors are meant to take hits, but not be a little bit cheaper than most premium pilot branded motors or whatever. And nothing wrong.
Do you have any of the motors there you can show us? Or the frame
I went ahead and I forgot to bring everything upstairs that I was going to bring upstairs. So nope. But whoops, they are good looking motors though. Yep, totally just left all of them.
What are they called if somebody wants to search for them?
You can look up just Grinder V3. Okay. TBS has them. I don't know if I have.
What size are they?
They're a 2207 stator, 1750 kV. 1850. Oh my God, this is horrible. My last ones were 1950. These are 1850. Yes. Nice. It was something that I hadn't flown a lot of, but I wanted to try it out. And I just like the way they feel a lot, especially with like a mid-size HQ prop, like the peanut butter and jellies or the juicy ones or whatever. I like using those with it. It's a nice trade-off of power and smoothness.
How would you describe your flying style? Do you have like a certain style that you go for, or do you kind of just let it rip and that's the result, or how would you describe that?
My style, I feel like, is so much different than anybody else's in FPV, because you have your classic like smooth pilots, your cine leaning pilots, almost even with freestyle, and then you have like, let me think of like Vic just doing those like insane super fast rolls, like the slowest, like gravity defying sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Like just roll proxy sort of. And then me, like, I don't know. I feel like I fly drones the way I skateboarded, which is I kind of just go for it and figure it out later. And if it looks cool, it looks cool. If it doesn't, whatever. You know what I mean? I really don't think a lot before I do anything. Maybe I'll think of a couple lines, like maybe I'll hit this spot to that spot, but anything in between, I don't know. I just do it. Sort of like Slat to a lesser degree, because Slat flies where he said he just does it. He just doesn't think. He just does the tricks as they come, as he's flying and everything. And I feel like I do that to a lesser degree because I think about it a little bit more because I'm old and my brain doesn't work that fast. But I know I just like, if I see a gap, I'm like, cool, I'm going to charge this gap and dive it. And whatever feels right after that, I'm going to do. Be it a juicy flick out, wall ride after that, go over here, go over there, whatever. And with music especially, the music will help kind of get you like, yeah, I'm just doing my thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't have a style I could describe. I wish I could make up a cool word and then I'll call it that style. Maybe I'll think of one later.
Yeah, I'll have to think about it. bought something.
Yeah.
Bot flow.
Bot flow.
What on your setup? What is it that you would usually fly? Then are you flying? You recording? Is it usually a GoPro camera? Are you concerned about like weight? You strip it down to something real light. You just kind of slap it on and fly. What's your
Yeah.
setup like otherwise?
I've never been concerned about weight ever. And I always say, because I fly freestyle and weight doesn't really matter. I mean, if you have like a 2,000 pound quad, yeah, or a gram quad, it's going to matter. But if you get up to 900 grams, 800 grams freestyle, it doesn't really matter. It's only going to help you have more momentum to power loop, you know? As long as you got good motors and you're on 6S, you'll be able to pull up out of it. So to me, in my opinion, weight doesn't really matter. I've literally never weighed a freestyle quad. I've weighed micros before, but I've never weighed one of my freestyle quads. I just do my frame, my motors. And when designing my motors in frame, I didn't have any weight requirements, but I knew, you know, the team at TBS and the team at BQE's going to hook that up and take it into account a little bit. But I'm just like, I want strong parts. I want things that aren't going to break the first couple of hits because I don't want to go home and repair. I want to keep flying, you know. I'll run those and I'll run the Hobby Wing ESC. The Hobby Wing ESC has done me the best in my career. I love that thing. Hobby Wing ESC, and I'm still in between flight controllers right now. I like the Radix, but basically anything that runs Emu Flight, I'm a fan of.
Mm-hmm. Did you, when you got started, did you know how to solder and do some of the skills that you need during building, or did you have to learn all that kind of from scratch?
Had to learn all of it. I went out and I bought a soldering iron that went up to like 40 degrees, like a plug-in one from Home Depot, like the worst, low heat. And then I bought some plumbing solder that was super thick gauge. And I was trying to solder XT60s was the worst. Trying to, not to mention, you know, get out of here with freaking small stuff. XT60 was just globs of solder piled up and spiky. I had no idea how to solder. Like, I understood the basic premises of it, but I didn't have the finesse at all. And now, like, I'm still not the best, but if I take my time, I can get a nice, clean, like, shiny round ball on there. But usually I'm doing rebuilds, and rebuilds are just like, hurry up. I have stuff to do, you know, get back on there.
Right. What's the most frustrating for you? Say you're out flying. Is it like crashing and something breaks, or you forget something? Is there been some situations where you show up at a spot and you forgot to bring your controller or something?
Yeah. I'll forget my goggle lipo a lot because I have to use a 2S because I have the Orcas. I forgot my goggle lipo a whole lot. I forgot my whole battery bag before. I forgot my prop wrench. I've forgotten spare props. I've definitely forgotten very important things. Not usually on bigger trips, thank God. I've done on like just running down to the park or the band or whatever. Big trips, I'm usually like I lay everything out to make sure I have absolutely everything.
Right.
But it's not uncommon for me to forget something very important to go flying in town.
It sounds like has FPV allowed you to travel some then outside of where you're at? Have you done a lot of traveling related to FPV?
Yeah, most of my traveling now, because I being homeless train rider, like that's all I did. I just went back and forth across the country, summer, winter, back and forth. So when I finally got into my house, I was cool just staying put. I was really, really content to just feel that I finally had a home. I had somewhere to call my own, to like collect and put things that I find, you know, like treasures. So I didn't really have that much urge to travel. And I started doing FPV, and I was on Rotor Riot for like 6 months before I quit. And I traveled with them for a bit. Or people hit me up now and then and be like, hey, if I buy you a plane ticket, will you come fly with me? So I do that now and then. People just buy a plane ticket, have me come out for the weekend to hang out. So I do that. Before COVID, I was traveling.
In the chat would offer you a plane ticket, you'd maybe fly out and hang out and fly?
Oh, yeah, no problem. I love that. You're giving me free trip, free content. I get to meet new people. That's a win-win. That sounds good to me.
All right, maybe we should bring you down to GetFPV then.
I'm down, man. Let's do it this winter because it's Florida. And that sounds great.
True, not a bad time to come down.
I do not like flying in planes. I get crazy sinus pressure that really bothers me. But I like to travel. I like to go, especially like to fly different places. Like I've been to every state, continental. So my new goal is to fly in every state, and I only have like 10 or 12 of them down, so I got a lot to go.
Wow, you've been to every state in the U.S.? That's crazy.
By the time I was 25, I had been to every state, either via freight train or hitchhiking, like all just on my own power.
Wow.
Yeah. I was a good hobo. I was a good homeless person, man. I got around. I did not sit still.
I gotta be honest, I wasn't in that world at all, so I don't even know how it works. I mean, how does it? You jump on a train and like you're on a train for 12 hours until you decide to jump off, or what happens?
Or 3 days if you're going from Washington to Chicago on the High Line. Depends, sometimes longer. Yeah. You get a sense for where they stop, where they're going. There's certain ways to know where they're going. So if you're trying to get somewhere specific, yeah, you get enough supplies for that long, for a couple of days or whatever. You get on it, you just sit on it, wait till it stops on the other end of the country. A lot of times for me though, we just, nothing to do. We'd be down by the train yard, a train would stop, be like, cool, let's go get on it and see what happens. Hopefully it's not a 3-day train because we have no water with us, usually.
If it's moving, I mean, you got to wait till it stops, or you jump off a moving train.
The rule of thumb for getting on it is that there's bolts, on the wheels. If you can count the bolts individually, it's safe enough to get on. But if they're blurred, then it's going too fast. That was like the hobo rule of thumb. And I think that came out to like 7 miles an hour, or 8 miles, something like that, or whatever. Getting off, that's personal preference. If it's all tuck and roll. It's you jump off and you tuck and you roll. So it depends on how fast you're comfortable doing that. So we did it one time.
Were you comfortable? Yeah, doing it.
I wasn't that great with it. I had to go slow. I was not trying to break my leg getting off the train. You know what I mean? Like I was always like, we went on this whole crazy adventure. I'm not trying to hurt myself at the end of it getting off. But one time we're on a train in Bellingham, Washington, and we thought it was going to go south, but it started going to Canada. We started recognizing like, okay, we're going to be in Canada. None of us have passports. Like we don't have anything at all. So we had to jump off one. Thank goodness it went around a corner on a park. So it slowed down when it went around the turn, and we saw the grass in the park right before it started getting on the main tracks. And it's like 5 of us, I think. We all jumped off. We all threw our backpacks or dogs. We jumped off and everything. And there was a whole bunch of families in the park. And we're like, oh, no. And the families went, yeah. They literally cheered. All these families in the park literally saw us jump off the train, clapped and cheered, and came up to us like, you're like real life hobos. Like, we've seen this in movie, but never in real life. And we're like, yeah, that's us. We travel, man. We're like, we're so hungry and thirsty right now. We're like, what do you need? Like, everybody was hooking us up. It was so great. We like totally felt like rock stars that day. It went from like, oh crap, we're going to Canada, we're going to die, to like, oh, we're rock stars. These people are hooking it up. This is amazing.
Were you like close to the border? Like, you're already up that far? Or
yeah. It was Bellingham, Washington, which is like Washington, Canada. It's right there. Like if we would have stayed on the train, we would have had trouble. We would have had to walk back through the wilderness or end up in Canada because it would have started going too fast.
Crazy. So, I mean, you know trains pretty well then with all that traveling on trains? Like, where they go, what they do?
Nowadays you can cheat. This was pre-cell phones when we would do it, but nowadays all you do is find the call number on the side of the cargo, and you call that company and you input the number, and it tells you where it's going. It's for like to trace your own cargo if you were to ship something during the train, on the train. Right. But you can use it to figure out where it's going, where it's going to stop, and everything, and write it. It's so much. These kids got it so much easier now. These homeless kids, I tell you what, they can just call in the trains and know where they're going.
Do it today?
Yeah,
is that still a thing?
A lot. When I started, I didn't know it was a thing until I met other people that did it, and then I was like, "Oh wow, this is like still going." Because I had heard stories of my grandfather doing it when I was a kid. He left the farm in Mississippi at 13 to ride trains and find work to help the family out or whatever. And then when I started riding trains, my mom told me that. She's like, "Oh yeah, your grandpa used to ride trains." I was like, shit, people are still doing it. This is insane. And yeah, people are still doing it to this day.
What was your first experience like? When was that?
I think I was 19. I was 19 or 20. I was in San Francisco and I had hitchhiked from Southern California, homeless and everything. I'd hitchhiked from Southern California up to San Francisco, and I was just hanging out on, they called it Hippie Hill. It was just the hill in Golden Gate Park. I was hanging out and I saw these 3 other like traveler punk kids, but they were filthy, like just covered in grease and dirt. And I was homeless and I was dirty, but this was like, y'all just crawled out of a charcoal factory. You know what I mean? Like covered in dirt. And I was just talking to them. They're like, oh yeah, we're train riders. They have little bandanas on, and they're listening to Twisted Sister. And when I was punk rock, Twisted Sister wasn't cool. That was like 80s stuff. You didn't listen to it. So it was weird. I was like, what? They're like super dirty, but they're listening to Twisted Sister. They're punk kids, but they're not. It just blew my mind. And I ended up hooking up with them, and they were like, yeah, you can ride trains, dude. That's what we do. You just hitchhike? That's lame. Don't hitchhike. Come ride trains with us. So they taught me. They showed me how to ride trains like the first year. And then after I realized they didn't really know what they were doing, and they would just get way too drunk and do sketchy stuff, I started just doing it by myself and with other people that did it a little bit safer, and like got away from those kids. But I had no idea. I had no idea it was a thing. It blew my mind. I was like, wow, Twisted Sister and freight trains. Like, this is my life, I guess. Let's go.
So how long did you do that for then?
I started riding trains in about 99. And then I got my house here like 8 years ago or so. So like, I don't know, 15 years-ish. Math, I don't know math, but a long time.
So over a decade of
Yeah.
of,
Yeah. And I mean, I would, you know, in the winters now and then I'd get a little restaurant job and pay rent for an apartment for a few months, 6 months maybe, just to get off the road and give myself a break. But then I'd always be right back on the road and stuff. And I think 4 years straight was my longest being homeless consecutively. It was like 4 years with no house, nothing, just straight traveling around and everything. And that wore on me, you know. I'd like, you want to get a little house now and then. And I do it for the winter. And then summer would roll around. There'd be a punk show across the country. And I don't want to go to work. So I just quit my job, 2 weeks notice, pay off the rest of my rent, just hit the road again, give away everything I'd acquired over the past 6 months or whatever, which was very liberating. Collecting a lot of things and then giving them all away like every year is a crazy feeling, but it's pretty cool. It was pretty nice feeling. You know what I mean? I would hang on to video game systems and give them to my friends. Like, hold on to this for me, but I would literally just give away everything in my apartment I'd collected.
Yeah, I think most of us would have a hard time doing that. I can imagine it is a liberating feeling though. Once you kind of,
there's no way I'm doing it now. There's no way I'll do it right now. I'll tell you that. It was nice back then, but I love my stuff. Are you kidding me?
Everybody on the street's like, "Hey, give me your quad. I want your quad."
No, you bury me with those, please.
Phantom FPV's asking, did you ever meet Spoon Lady? Do you know who that is?
Spoon Lady? Where at? I don't know if I ever met a Spoon Lady.
He said, ever meet the Spoon Lady?
Phantom. I don't think so. No, does not ring a bell. I met Hate Man in Berkeley, who was like the nicest guy. He was the legend had it. Hate Man was a news reporter, a reporter from New York that went to Berkeley to cover the homeless scene in Berkeley back in the 70s. But he fell in love with the street culture that's so rich in Berkeley, California, and became a street person himself and just stayed there. That was the tale, apparently. But this dude, you see him, he'd like, give me a cigarette. He'd be like, give me a push. So you'd like put your shoulder against his and like try to push him over. He'd try to push you over for like 30 seconds, and then he'd give you a cigarette. Or if you need like a couple bucks, same thing. He'd be like, oh, fuck. It was push or a something. Or a dollar. He'd like, give me a quarter or a push or whatever. So you just do the like push thing. Strange guy, but really nice. He gave every homeless person in Berkeley cigarettes for years.
That's awesome. We've had a lot of people join in the chat. We're almost pushing 200 here, Bot. Going pretty good, man. We got a lot of people talking. Wow. Hey, if you guys got any comments or questions for us while we're talking here, put them in the chat. We'll try to get to them as best we can, and we'll have a conversation here with DJ. Why don't we get a little history on your name, your pilot name, Botgrinder? Can you tell us where did that come from? I mean, it's a unique name. It's not like just DJ FPV or something. So what happened? Where'd that come from?
Right. It was a song I actually wrote for a band in, I think, 2013. I had a band, and we had rented a studio to write and record our last album. And we finished all our songs that we had written and everything. And the studio was like, oh, right on, like under time too. You guys have 30 minutes left. And my guitar player is like the most frugal dude ever. So he was like, we have 30 minutes of time left. He's like, we got to write 2 more songs, guys. We got 30 minutes. We can write 2 songs and record them. And we're like, what? We just did a whole album, dude. Give up. We don't need to write 2 more songs. But he made us. So Botgrinder was a song that I wrote in like 10 minutes. Botgrinder and some other one. And they wrote the music for it. They're just like short grind songs. You can crank them out. So I wrote Botgrinder about this killer robot. It was Botgrinder the Reckoning being WRECKING, Reckoning, right? It's like a little clever wordplay. So I wrote that song, and then I was like, wow, Botgrinder is kind of like a cool name. So I got the Gmail and the Twitter and the YouTube, and the YouTube and everything, just to hang on to it in case I wanted to use it for a gamer tag later in life or something. And then when I started doing FPV, I was like, what should my name be? And I was like, oh, I have that old Botgrinder email from, the song. Maybe I'll just use that till I think of something better. And I never thought of anything better.
What about the logo? Did you create that for the FPV channel, or did you already have that from the
That was a friend. Maybe like 6 months, a year into FPV, I decided I needed a logo because everybody else had one. So a local guy here made that for me and just, busted it out, sent it to me, and then I put that up. Again, I was going to change it to something better later, but I never found anything better, and I like it a lot now.
Cool. I like the name too. Johnny 5 asks, when you're going to get a production team. Is that something that you're thinking of doing?
I wish. I need to up my production value. No, I want a production team. I just want somebody to hold my camera for me. I'd be happy with just that.
Maybe Johnny's offering his services. I saw you guys did a video together, right?
I would love to. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Johnny, because he was he worked for NASA, so I needed some NASA input on my rocket video, and he basically just told me it wouldn't work, so I quit talking to him after that. I was like, "You're just a naysayer, man. This is totally going to go to," and it
You
did go to
gotta
space, I
believe,
think.
Johnny. You gotta believe it's
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. Come
It
on,
runs on
Johnny.
hopes and dreams.
Johnny has great videos, though. He does know about production. I love his videos. Green Screen
He
King.
does.
He has the best green screen game in FPV. I'll tell you that. Johnny 5.
He does very intricate backgrounds. You know, he's on space stations sometimes. You never know where he's going to be. So, Bot, what's next for you? What's the future look like? Anything planned that you're excited about?
I want to start an FPV park. I was going to start the world's first FPV park, but 2 other people have already bought property and are starting them because they have money and I don't. But I was going to do it this year. I'm just kind of getting cold feet about it. But what my goal, I want to start a GoFundMe. I want to raise $60,000 and I want to buy 10 acres of land, because you can buy 10 acres of land all over Pennsylvania, rural Pennsylvania, only an hour or 2 from me, for 60 grand. I've been looking at properties. So I want to buy just raw land and then make it an FPV park. Just build awesome obstacles, build big dive towers, build a tiny loop track, a crawler course, and have it be open to the public. Anybody, like, if you're coming through, hey, I want to go fly, go for it. Go over there. It's over there. Maybe like clean up some trash if you see it or something, whatever. Just keep the place clean. But I want to have it open to the public at all times, FPV park. That's like my main driving goal right now, is trying to get that done. But it's going to be a bunch of money, and I have 0 of that. So I'm trying to figure all that out. I figure GoFundMe would be the best way. But my fear is I start a GoFundMe and it's there for 7 days. It is there for a month and only makes like $7,000 or something. You know what I mean? I would hate for only to make a little bit of it and then get disheartened. I want to I want to make it really good, hit the ground running, promote it everywhere, and make $60,000 within a month and be like, there we go, we got it. Let's buy the park, and go from there and everything. And raw land, mind you. So we're gonna have to get generators and porta potties and things for events.
Okay, I was going to ask you. Yeah, so like you're talking about 10 acres of land. What does the land look like? Is it like wooded, or is it an open field, or what's it like?
The stuff I'm looking at right now is just raw wooded land. Some of them are already cleared a little bit, but I figured if we could clear down the trees and just use the trees to make gates and stuff. You can get portable mills that are pretty easy. Just run a little tree through there, get some lumber, build a little dive gate, put a few up, use the natural landscape, leave some trees up and maybe nail some things in between them to make a dive gate there or whatever. Basically use as much of the land to build the park as possible. Mm-hmm. And then, in turn, if it's heavily wooded, raw, you'll be clearing it by building obstacles and everything. Kind of pioneer style, but for high-tech drones.
I like the mashup. Yeah, that sounds interesting. So if anybody on this chat here or watching this video, you share the same dream as Botgrinder, or if you want someone to lead the dream and you want to fund it, get in touch with Bot and he'll make it happen.
Yeah, what's up? Let's build an FPV park before all those dudes in Texas build.
How can they follow you if they're not already following you? I guess on YouTube, you said you have Patreon, you have a Discord channel, right? How can people find you on those things?
You just find me at Botgrinder everywhere. I have a Twitter that I don't use because I don't really understand it, but it is there if you use it. Instagram, Botgrinder, Twitter, Botgrinder, and YouTube, all Botgrinder. The Patreon, same thing, patreon.com/Botgrinder. I put behind the scenes stuff on there, extra videos, that nobody else sees. Like sometimes I'll go and I'll fly and I'll have a pack that I'm not that proud of, that I don't want everybody to see, but I'll put it up for patrons so they can see it. Be like, look, not all my packs are great. Look at this really bad one. That's how I fly when no one's looking, things like that. I send out stickers monthly. Every single month I design and send out a new sticker to patrons and stuff. They can watch their videos on every Friday. I do a live stream and get your video played. Come hang out, watch drone videos together, find some new pilots to follow and things. Just big old
community type deal. That's awesome. Voltronic says you can name it Botwoods.
I like Botwoods. Botwoods, Botland. There's been a few names. I don't want it to be based on me though. I want it to be like a community thing. So it's like everybody's park.
Yeah. So you got a dream for an FPV Wonderland. That sounds very cool. That sounds fun. What about
relatively cheap too?
Yeah, not too much. What about other plans? You have any events coming up or anything you're planning on? Any traveling you're planning to visit anybody or any locations?
Yes, in fact, I think next week is the Botgrinder meetup in Las Vegas, October 22nd and 23rd in Las Vegas. Bunch of people are flying out. We're just going to hang out in Vegas. I have a few spots for us to fly during the day. At night, we're going to do some micros and stuff around, do a little live stream, do whatever casino stuff. I don't drink anymore, and I've never been to Las Vegas when I don't drink, so it's going to be interesting to see what you do in Las Vegas when it's not just free drinks all day, you know what I mean? And then the 23rd, we're going to go like the Wheel of Misfortune out there and a few like iconic Las Vegas spots. But we have it's hard to get a count, but we have between 50 and 100 people coming. So it's going to be like a pretty cool little meetup out in the desert with everybody. And everybody's welcome to come. Anybody watching right now, you don't have to be a part of the Discord. You don't have to know who I am. Everybody is welcome to come October 22nd, 23rd in Las Vegas. You can hit me up on my Instagram for more info at Botgrinder.
Awesome. You guys, you're all invited. That sounds like a good time. So that's coming up pretty soon. That should be a fun time. So a little bit of hanging out, a little bit of flying. That sounds cool. Cool.
That's really these big plans in the future. You know, I like to take things as they come. I like to plan too far ahead. I do want to do some Florida trips this winter. I want to go see some people in a few places. I wanted to go to Denver this year, but that didn't work out, and tickets got real expensive. But Las Vegas is the next like big thing I'm looking forward to. Unless I'm forgetting. That's all I could think of.
Moving through some of the comments here. Cole was asking how you got into FPV. We did cover it in the beginning, but he said he got a tiny little drone, and then he kind of got hooked on FPV after he saw some videos and realized people did drone racing, which I think a lot of us thought was pretty cool, and we got started too.
Yeah, I legit just Googled it one day, and it was from there on. Waterfall.
Skadoosh says, if you meet him in LA October 30th, you can ride across the country with me.
A Bot Skadoosh road trip? Are you kidding me?
That sounds like a lot of good content.
Man, I already booked my return ticket. Skadoosh, I already booked that return ticket, or I would seriously consider that. That'd be crazy. I also don't want to be in Vegas longer than 4 days, but that'd be tight.
I know Skadoosh has been stuck in China for some time. He's finally coming home, so that should be fun to have him in the U.S. again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. What other we got? What else we got for questions here? How's everybody doing? What's up, Cage? Cage is a 5-year-old pilot from Australia that rips far more hard than a lot of people I know, than a lot of adults I know. One of the craziest.
5-year-old pilot. Wow.
Yo, awesome. He'll post his videos on my Friday night live stream. It blows me away how good this kid is. Y'all go check out Carbon Cage if you don't know already.
That's really cool. Welcome, Cage, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
What else we got? What's up, Quad Doc? Volleytronics. What's up, buddy? 6'7". 6'7" was in a video we played earlier. He was the guy at the school that was flying when I flew around him. He came to visit from Alaska one day. I get a good amount of people coming through Philadelphia for one reason or the other, work or traveling, and they always hit me up, and I'm always more than happy to go out and rip with them and show them a couple local spots.
That's awesome.
So if any of you make your way through Philly, let me know. Don't be a stranger. Hit me up. I'll take you to rip at the school because it's only a few blocks away. Or I'm sorry, a few miles away.
I've never been to Philly myself. I have a cousin that lives there. I've been in the area, but never right to Philly. You like the town? I mean, you've been there for a while.
Yeah, when I was going to, settle down, when I started making moves to get off the streets, I had to pick which city to come to. And I just always would come back to Philly. It's just so easy here to get a start. You don't have to find a typical 9-to-5 job to like make money to get started. It's easy, usually fairly easy to find housing and stuff. There's good support networks here for people. There's a lot of city, amenities and stuff. The city will do a lot for you if you hit them up. They can help you out a lot. I got a lot of friends here. It was kind of a no-brainer. And then the housing, 7 years ago was so cheap. I got my house for so freaking cheap. It was ridiculous. The only reason I was able to buy a house while living on the streets was because it was crazy cheap. You know what I mean? But it's just always like, it could be dangerous here. It could be dirty and stuff, but I love Philly. If you want to be left alone and just be you, the city will let you do that. You know what I mean? You can just do you without people getting into your business too much or anything. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that because I was just trying to get my life together. So I needed that. I need everybody to just leave me alone. Let me get my dang life together. And now here we are.
Here you are. Brennan says, Bot, we need to get a Gorilla FPV tour.
All right. Yeah, let's do that. There's been a few gorilla whooping videos I've done where I maybe rip the garden section of a Kmart or inside of a Target or something.
I saw that. I saw
Nobody,
an IKEA one potentially that happened.
they potentially cared that time too. Target does not care. IKEA cares. That's a pro tip. Target seems to care less what you do in there.
Bot, why don't you go? I want to see your frame and motors. Go grab them. I'll show people the discount code while you're gone, and you come back in a minute. Does that work?
Okay, yeah, I'll go grab them right now. I'll be right back.
All right.
I'm gonna turn that off.
While he's gone, guys, let me show you what we got going on. We have a discount code right now live at GetFPV. Thanks for Botgrinder joining us. If you add anything to your cart here, such as like the BQE frames or something else that you want to add, put in the code Botgrinder. It'll save you 5% during checkout. That code's good right now for this week through Monday, I believe. Save you a little bit of cash. Thanks for watching the live stream here with us. So as we're talking here with DJ, aka Botgrinder, one of the coolest pilots I know in FPV, very unique. If you haven't checked it out, go check out his channel. He's very entertaining, and he'll always leave you wanting some more with his video. I think the best part is some of his intros and outros that he has makes it so cool and unique too. Hey XJet, thanks for joining the chat here, man. Good to see you all the way over from New Zealand. Nice to have you. Keith FPV Quad. Big shout out to all you. Big Perv. Hey man, nice to see you too. Bot's back.
Oh, XJet's here. Hey, XJet.
He's here, man. Yeah, I see him comment on your channels every now and then.
Speaking of legends.
Yes, sir. All right, let me put you up on the screen here.
Oh, that's my antenna. Okay, so these are the Botgrinder frame with the Botgrinder V3 motors. But I've always wanted to paint my frames, and I never did. And recently I've been like, you know what? I'm going to start painting my freaking frames, and I think they look so much cooler painted than just black carbon, you know?
It looks really cool. So for those who haven't done it, how do you paint a frame? Like, is it something special or pretty easy? I
did a video on it, but it was pretty much a joke because in the video I go, you just do this, and I just spray paint it. That's it. I don't do any prep or anything. The trick is to buy artist quality spray paint, not hardware store paint. So you get like a Montana or a Dang or something like that, and it just sticks so much better, and it looks so much better. Like, it looks so clean, even with no sanding, no primer, no nothing. That's just paint on carbon with no steps in between.
That's cool. Yeah.
Excuse me. And it will scratch for sure. But I like the way it looks when it's scratched. I like it to look kind of battle damage. You know what I mean? I like the way it looks a lot.
Matches your fingernails, right?
Yeah, exactly. And these motors, dude, these are the new motors. They are so good. These are the perfect freestyle motor. The Botgrinder V3. Yeah, it's got RC on there, but this is just, years of like wanting my perfect freestyle motor. And I finally had a chance to make it. Well, I had a chance to make a V1, and it took me 2 iterations to get where I am super happy with it.
Mike was asking, is there an STL for those motor wire guards that you're using there?
I got those from Vampire. Well, I'm not sure if he put them online or not. FPV Friends does sell them, FPV Friends, but Vampire may have an STL for it as well. That's cool. I'm doing a video coming up, speaking of those, top 10 3D prints for FPV, and this is going to be number 1. These things are so handy. I used to just put a bunch of tape on them, but you get these things, you put a couple little zip ties, your motor wires are so protected.
Is it like a TPU, or what is the material?
Yeah, just a little TPU cylinder thing with a slit in the bottom that you put all the wires through, and has little grooves for your zip ties to zip tie it down.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like a clever design, simple but effective.
They're must have now. Now that I'm using them, I got to use them.
That's really cool.
What's up, Johnny Vermont? I met Johnny Vermont in Boston at the Boston Drone Film Festival.
Oh, yeah?
It was a fun time, yeah. Yeah, good to see you again, bro.
What were you doing at a drone film festival? You got an invite to do something there?
I was a judge, yeah. Ooh. It was great. It was so cool. I was so honored. And there were so many cool people there. I want to do it again. I want to do it next time.
Was that recently, or when did that happen?
That was 2 or 3 years ago, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe closer to 3. They've had a couple other festivals that I didn't go to. I just didn't want to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Boston's only like 5 hours from Philly, which is kind of crazy. I should go there more.
Yeah, Philly is like a couple hours away from a lot of places, it seems. So yeah, you're within driving distance of a lot of stuff.
2 hours from New York City, sometimes an hour and a half, depending on traffic. It's really close to the city.
That's closer than I would have guessed.
It's nice. Philly's good in central location. You literally 2 hours any direction. You're in a bunch of different states, a bunch of different cool places.
Mm-hmm. Are you a Philly fan related to sports or anything?
Nah. Go Birds, because I have to say that. I'm like contractually obligated by living here to say that, but I don't really care. I like hockey. I'm not like a big fan, but you know, if I had to choose, I like the hockey. I like the Flyers. I'll watch when it's hockey season. I'll watch Flyers until they start losing a lot, and then I'll lose interest. But if they're doing good, you know, I like to have that city pride and watch them. Mm-hmm. But football and baseball and golf or whatever the other one is don't really interest me. What's the Philly golf team? Do we have? I don't think we have a golf team. Yeah, we probably don't. The Madisons.
Like golf?
Yeah, I was pretending that big cities have major golf teams along with football and basketball and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
It was a fun thing to think of.
Just like what if we did? The Philly swim team, yeah.
yeah, exactly. The water polo team's killing it. The Philly water polo team this season. You'll know when the teams are doing well because there'll be freaking riots in the streets and all kinds of crazy shit. When the
I've heard fans get quite excited.
When they won the Super Bowl, I was in the middle of doing a live stream when the team won, and you could hear on my live stream just the chaos even out my window. People screaming, questionable bangs, loud noises and stuff. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh, yep, game's definitely over." You can hear it out the window.
That's funny. Have you ever, you've done freestyle and a whole bunch of that type of flying. Have you ever done racing or been involved in a race?
The closest I've been to racing was going to International Open and just like playing around on the track. I've never tried to like race. I've done tiny whoop racing, so I've done that. I used to really like tiny whoop racing when I started a lot, actually, but I've never done 5-inch racing. Anytime I've just gone on a track, I get lost immediately. So I've been like, I won't even try to race, if I'm going to get lost going around the first gate. But now I'd like to try it now. I'd like to, like one person be like, hey, race me like on a track just to see what it's like, just to try it out for fun. But I don't see racing as anything I'd like pursue at all. I like the freedom of freestyle too much. And I'm starting to like cinematic as well.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would like cine flying as much as I do.
Cool.
I want to go to like a mountain range and try some, I'm in the city. I ain't got no nature around here. I'd love to go to like a big mountain range, or like when I go to Vegas, I want to try to go up to some mountains. Is that what you call it? Some mountains and try to like fly around some cliffs and stuff. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, they do. Outside the city, they definitely have some areas that have some cool mountains. I was there, 5 years ago. You got to fly went up a couple thousand feet up one and dove down like some trenches. It was cool because for me, it's way different. Florida, same thing. We're flat everywhere. So flying around a mountain was like really exciting.
I remember I watched Final Glide at Lake Tahoe do that live. It was like before Ghost ever came out, the RC system. They were testing it like a long time ago. And we were at Lake Tahoe, and he went to the top of the mountain until he saw snow, and then turned around, and it was miles and miles of you just going down this mountain. It was so awesome. I think when I saw that, I was like, okay, I have to try long range now for sure.
Studio Loop Garo says your West Virginia episodes are some of my favorite. Which ones are those?
Oh, nice. Those are some long range, and me and Maddie Blunts, the good homie Maddie Blunts, had rented a B&B in West Virginia, and invited us all over to come do a long range weekend. So we all went and did long range. I lost my Hexcopter and a naked GoPro 7, but then we just flew around like all West Virginia. There's a huge, I think it might be like North America's largest bridge or something, or tallest bridge, but we flew out there. It was a couple kilometers from our spot to the bridge, flew some long range around there. Just had a real good West Virginia time. I went to Tudor's Biscuit World. If y'all know West Virginia, I went to Tudor's, one of my favorite restaurants on the planet. That's like my main reason ever going to West Virginia is to go to Tudor's Biscuit World to get biscuits.
Tudor's Biscuit sounds good.
It's a world of biscuits, like every kind of biscuit.
And gravy, or what kind of?
Any kind you want. You want like an egg on it? You want like something weird? You want a freaking chicken fried steak biscuit? No problem, we got it. They got any biscuit you want. Tudor's Biscuit World got you, and they're big. They're big, like not that big, but they're big biscuits. They ain't no little McDonald's sliders.
You're making me hungry. It's getting late. I gotta go eat.
Get you some tutors.
Yeah, get me some tutors. I don't think we have them down here. In flying, I mean, you've done some long range. Then, do you enjoy that long range type of flying versus like a bando flying? Like, it's different style, but like, how would you describe it? What do you enjoy about the long range stuff?
It's the feeling for me. Whereas freestyle is like, oh dang, if I crash, I gotta walk and pick up my broken quad. And then long range is like, I'm gonna lose my entire drone. So it's a whole different type of anxiety and a different type of like thrill for me. Like I like the battery management. I like almost using too much battery going out and being worried about it coming back because that's like the thrill, you know.
Right.
I love having auto return to home. Like I feel far too safe having that. If anything goes wrong, you know, it just flies itself back to get video. But long range is just, I've been flying freestyle exclusively for so long that it's fun to just relax. It's like, it is sort of, it's thrilling and anxiety inducing, but it's also a little more relaxing than freestyle. Because, you know, if I want, I can let go of the radio. I can adjust my goggles and stuff, and get comfortable and grab the radio again. And the drone's just going to be doing its long range thing or whatever. It's hard in the city because there's so much interference everywhere. So I don't get to do it as much as I'd like.
Have you ever done fixed wing or FPV airplanes? I
flew one fixed wing plane that my buddy had, and it was fun because I had no idea what I was doing. You know, I was like, oh, I fly drones. I got that. And I was like, the whole time. I was like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? The whole time. It was just like, oh, I barely have this. And it was fun because it was so out of control and I had no idea what I was doing. I ended up crashing into a tree, and that was the only time I flew a wing. I like chasing wings, though. I really like chasing other people's wings with my quads and trying to get those shots.
Air-to-air shots, I agree. That's very entertaining as a pilot to chase something else in the air, like having a target like that. That is a lot of fun. Yeah,
I've definitely gotten too close to a few friends and like slammed right into their wing and destroyed them. You know, but I've gotten some cool shots not slamming into them. It all depends who you're flying with. Some people, you know, it's a little foam wing. It's already taped up all the hell. They don't care. Some people have really nice planes.
What was it? Flight Fest. Have you been to Flight Fest before?
Yeah, I watched Flight Fest before I even knew what an FPV drone was. I just really enjoyed watching, because my uncle, like I said, used to do the model planes. So I liked watching Flight Test because it reminded me of that and everything. And then when I got into drones, it's like, oh, Flight Test does drones too. Like, cool, I already watched this. And so I was super fan already. I was super stoked on him. Then I became a fan, and then I went to go to a Flight Fest in Ohio one year, and I met Josh and everybody, and they knew who I was, and I was like, holy shit, Flight Test knows who I am. This is like the greatest thing. They were like, anytime you want to come, you know, to the spot and fly with us, let us know. Open invitation to the Flight Test factory. And I was like, okay, this is fantastic, man. Like, I've been watching y'all forever.
Did you get to fly in the combat that they do at the event? You know, where they have like 100, 200 planes at the same time?
I didn't get to fly. I like the combat's the coolest thing. I didn't get to fly in it. I watched it though, but I would love to fly in a combat. I think the year I went was when they started doing no drones, or only a couple people could do quads because it was just too destructive for the wings. They just get taken out left and right.
It is. It's like homing missiles just chasing wings around. Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching like Stinger Swarm do the battles. So I remember those old videos.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. Who do you want to give any shout outs to some of your local crew? Who do you fly with around your area these days?
Oh, we got so many. We got the homies now. Like I said, I used to fly alone. Now we have so many friends. It's great. One of the newer additions, Lord Wolf. Lord Wolf is out there making awesome videos. Vampire, as always. Erica Bandalorian, Forevermore. Everybody's gonna hate me for not remembering their names right now. That's like the core crew, except for whoever I'm forgetting. Destructs is an amazing local dude. Vampire, help, who am I forgetting? Vampire will chime in the chat here and let me know all the friends I'm forgetting. But we have a good little, you know, Cricket's only a little ways away, Ilbro, Stealth FPV, all those homies. Lord Wolf, I shouted you out off the bat. You missed it. Lord Wolf is getting greedy now. I shouted you out first. Oh my God, Izzy Boop. How could I forget the beautiful Izzy Boop? Izzy, also the homie that is local that we fly with. We have a good crew between like New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. There's a lot of pilots that are within an hour or so of each other. And when we can, we get together on the weekends. Yeah, the whole DMV crew. There you go.
XJet says, don't forget Drew Camden. You might be giving a little smiley face after that one, I think.
You're hilarious, XJet. No, that's Florida's problem now, not mine.
We do have a lot in Florida, yep. It looks like you have a fun crew though. They're all here supporting you. Thanks for joining us, guys.
That's awesome. Yeah, we all support each other. We all go to each other's video premieres. When we drop new videos and stuff, make sure to like and leave comments on everyone's videos. I forget a lot more. They're a lot better about it, but that's just one of the things. We have a small community in the Discord of like the core people, and some people that kind of just lurk. But we all try to make it to the premieres, do the algorithm stuff for each other by commenting and pressing the like button or sharing videos or whatever. Just trying to help each other, get up there till we're all sponsored professional pilots and we can all just hang out all day for fun. And because you never worry about anything. Once you just do FPV, your life is easy. There's no stress whatsoever. You don't panic about making a new video. You don't panic about staying relevant or doing products or anything. It's a cakewalk.
I wanted to ask you, remind me of your video. You have some unique artwork that's kind of on your intro. Let me share this.
Yeah, that was an animation my buddy did.
I wanted to get the story about where this came from, because it's actually pretty hilarious.
He just hit me up one day. It's one of my friends that's always doing something creative, and he was like, "Hey, I made this animation of a drone for you. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Oh my god, dude, that's so good!" It's been my intro for years now. He never planned on it like being anything. He's just like, "Look at this. I'm practicing animation. Look at what I made." And I was like, "That's so good, dude. That's my intro, like, for life. If I ever change my intro, it'll only be another animation that same person has done. You know what I mean? I'm not going to ever switch anything else up."
That's hilarious. Yeah. All right, cool. Good to hear the story behind it. I always enjoy your intro, and then you usually have like really funny outros. If you don't watch the end of his videos, you guys got to make sure you watch all the way to the end, because you usually leave like an Easter egg or something.
Yeah.
Like
I call it
Yeah, go ahead.
I call it the secret section. Just like some old 90s records back in the day would have like secret audio if you let the tape play all the time, but also skateboard videos growing up always had a secret section at the end of the credits. As long as you waited through the credits or fast forwarded, there'd always be like some little Easter egg sneaky thing in skateboarding. And I try to model my stuff close to like 90s skating stuff that I love. So I'm like, I got to do a secret section in my videos, And if I ever don't have one, it's because I completely forgot. But I'm pretty good about putting one in every single video, just because I like to have it there. And it's a good trick to get people to watch it longer.
Yeah, I think it works both ways, and it's got a good payoff. I always enjoy it because it's usually something funny at the end, so you guys don't want to miss it. Watch the end of his videos. You'll
watch the entire thing.
I like the rocket one, and Johnny was at the end when he said like you're stupid, or this is stupid.
Yeah.
Or something.
That video, I'd written up a script for Johnny. He freestyled a bit too, but he also did some takes with the script that I wrote, and that was one of the script ones. And I was like, this makes him look too mean, so I don't want to put it in the main video, so I just put it in the end. Yermo, no, to answer your question, I do not read any chats by Yermo ever. Sorry, maybe just Yermo. That one. Oh, Yermo. Okay. He had to spell it right. Now I understand. Hey, Yermo. Hey, buddy. It's our friend from Argentina.
Yermo.
He almost died in the jungle filming a movie for Netflix. It's a harrowing task. Yermo. Yeah, all of you ask Yermo sometime when you see him in a chat. Ask him about almost dying in the jungle filming a thing for Netflix.
Wow, that sounds interesting. XJet says if you play Botgrinder's videos backwards, you can hear how the unifying theory of physics works. Wow, it's very deep.
He's on
I
to me.
Didn't realize you were that deep. Wow. Okay.
He's on to me.
Ratatat says, when is GetFPV going to drop the new V3 Botgrinder motors? I'll check on it. I'm pretty sure we have them on order. I think they just haven't arrived yet, but nice. I'll check on it. It should be very soon. I'm sure we'll be ordering them. They're coming from TBS, and we carry all the TBS gear, so that'll be part of it.
Drone Dome, thank you. Said I'm your favorite channel. I appreciate that. Oh, damn! Yermo was there for 2 months. Yeah, I'm good on that.
Mike was commenting on the intro that cracks him up too. He said, the kazoo, the Britney Spears outro. That is
yeah, the Britney Spears Toxic song. That my buddy Wombat had made a video, and he put that crappy flute kind of music, because there's a few songs done crappy flute, and I thought it was so funny. I kind of just took that from him. I was like, okay, I'm going to use crappy flute in the video because it's hilarious, and then it just stuck as my outro music. I've only changed it up once in the past couple of years. In my rocket video, I played a different song, and I've always played the Britney Spears song, but the rocket video deserved a special little ending, so that's what I did.
All right. Keith's asking, any Botgrinder bind and fly is coming to GetFPV soon. I guess we don't have anything right now, but maybe we should talk about doing something. Maybe we get those new motors in. We could figure out a BNF build with it.
You do carry all the parts that I use at GetFPV, so that could be a
Mine
thing
as well. We got a build team. I think that's a good idea, Keith. We'll work on it.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Oh, the crappy Studio Loop. I had the Metallica crappy flute song in one. That was hard to listen to. That was a painful version of that song. I like some Metallica too.
Oh man.
Yermo really wants he wants everybody to know that he wants XJet in an interview.
Yeah, Bruce, we let's hit each other up. Maybe we can figure something out. I'd love to have you on here too.
Bobby brags. He blasts the flute song every time he watches one of my videos so everyone can hear. It's very polite of you, Bobby.
But what kind of or who are some FPV pilots that you enjoy watching in terms of their videos and content?
The ones that I started watching were like Gapit and Stinger Swarm, definitely like top 2 favorite pilots. Mm-hmm. But as of late, I mean, I've always enjoyed watching Cricket's videos. I think everybody has, but Slat is killing it. Love watching some Slat videos. Elite FPV, Elite's really good. Billy Hackett is really good. I always get to watch his videos on Friday. There's a few other pilots. Oh gosh, I was just watching somebody the other day. Oh, I don't even remember. I try to remember everybody's name that I see killing it and make a little like mental list of pilots to keep an eye on, just in case, you know. But if I'm gonna like just go onto my YouTube, I'm gonna look for some Gapit, honestly. And he also is making a comeback. I heard. I see him on Instagram. He just posted a brand new flight. So I was like, please can 2022 be the comeback of Gapit? How fun would that be if he just started ripping again?
I agree. Yeah, his content was awesome. Yeah, I got a video here. Let's see if you recognize what it is from.
Oh, this is that long range. Yeah, this was actually with No Respect FPV, Lord Wolf, and Vampire. We're out there with the crew. This is near Lord Wolf's spot. This is, I believe, yeah, this is my record, the Botgrinder world record. I did 2.6 kilometers, and then I turned around. Actually, next Sunday, we're all meeting up to do some more long range, and I'm going to try to beat my record. I'm going to try to go 3 kilometers even, which is terrifying.
So what's your setup on this? Is it your normal freestyle quad, or do you have something special?
No, this one right here is the Explorer 6, the Fly. I think it's the Flywoo version. No, okay. I'm sorry. It's the Flywoo, the Flywoo 6-inch like bind and fly long range. Flywoo and HLRC have been making a bunch of bind and fly long ranges in different sizes and sending them out for review and stuff. And I really like them. They're great. Like, I definitely recommend people, if you are interested in long range, for like $200, you can just go pick up a bind and fly rather than making sure everything works like it already just works, you know. So I really like flying them. Just send them, you know.
Video, what was the limiting factor? Was it control or video?
It was video on this one. It was breaking up, and then it started to break up to where I was like, okay, the next time it drops, it's just dropping. And I do have auto return to home and everything, but I didn't feel like, you know, pushing it that day. See, right here, you can see it. I come up to 2.6 kilometers and then turn around, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done. This video's, next time it drops, it's going to be gone forever.
Right.
But I had my Insta360 Go on here. That was the reason I didn't want to lose it. Next Sunday, I'm not going to put an HD cam on there, and I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to go to 3 kilometers no matter what happens. And then when I lose video, I'm just going to enact return to home and have it come back. It's a lot different when you care about your camera on the quad than when you. Oh,
I believe it.
When you got a free bind and fly.
I'm watching this with you right now, and I'm feeling that, you know, feeling in your gut when it goes all snow, and you're like, is it coming back?
Yeah. And
you kind of just trust your last input, and making sure you're going the direction you want, and hope the video comes back, or what do you do?
Well, there's auto return to home, so you hit the button and you just wait for your video to come back, pretty much, and it flies itself home.
So, did you do a return to home in this video, or are you flying manual on the way home?
This one, no. I just turned around on this one. Yeah, this one I was like, okay, I know the videos. Okay, I see your question. Yeah, the video was so bad, then it was turn around, just keep the throttle and the stick where it was at, and wait for the video to come back. Like, kind of just guess in your mind where your drone's at and what the correct throttle level is going to be. Oh, Tom Smith too. D-Strux brings up Tom Smith. How could I forget? Definitely one of my favorite pilots to watch when I started.
Yeah, I agree with you. He has some really cool content.
I have never seen an XJet video. I should watch them though. I heard they're pretty entertaining. Maybe one day I'll watch an XJet video.
Yeah, not a bad idea. XJet says if you lose video, just disarm. That'll solve your problems.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Then you can just stop flying for the day. You're good. Go get a sandwich or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Matt D won that frame. Matt D never hit me up though, or maybe he did. I don't remember. Now and then I do giveaways, and people don't hit me up and claim their prize, so I just give it away again. XJet says XJet videos are crap. He did though. There was an XJet video where he said my name, and that one was pretty good. I can definitely recommend that one because he talks about me. Oh yeah, and then me and Vampire went to do some chasing. You know, now and then you get sick of just doing straight freestyle, and you're like, let's just chase each other and like make some cool videos or something. He does a little roll, I think, in this one. Yeah, this looks cool. Loop, little quad roll. That stuff's fun to do.
Very cool.
Return to ground. Yeah, it's called return to ground when you use XJet's method.
RTG, yeah. Well, thank you for everyone joining us tonight. We're talking here to Botgrinder. We've been live for the last hour and a half, having a good time, learning a little bit about you, DJ, your history of FPV and how you got started. We've been chatting here with the crew in the live chat. Thank you for everyone who's joined us. We're going to wrap it up in probably a few minutes, so I'm giving you a minute or two if you have a question you really want to ask before we go. We'll try to get to it. Thanks again for everyone who's joining us. A reminder, we're doing a discount code right now in GetFPV. It's just Botgrinder. If you put Botgrinder in the checkout, you will get that discount. And don't forget to support Bot in his channels. He's got YouTube. He's got his Patreon that he really relies on, and also his Discord channel that you can communicate with him and his followers. So follow him there if you aren't already, and if you already are, hit him up on Patreon and show him how you like him.
Yeah, bro. I'll even send you things in the mail if you become a patron.
Oh, like what do you get?
Every month. I send stickers out every single month. I send custom stickers, and they're not always. Sometimes they're like Botgrinder things. Sometimes they're just like an FPV sticker. You know what I mean? But it's something that I think of in my head, and then I send to people and have Banff decals make and do a great job. I'm actually no, I won't say that. I'm doing something really cool for my top patrons this December. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm doing something besides stickers, so y'all will see, and I hope you really like it because I'm going to be working very hard on it. I like to just. I don't know. I see a lot of Patreons people have, and there's people, they don't really do anything at all. You know, I feel very obligated to like give as much to my patrons as I can, since that's literally my living. Like I'm making my living from these people making a living and then supporting me. So like whatever I can do for them, I want to do. You know what I mean? I feel very, I don't know. I'm really proud of where I am at. And that's only because of other people supporting me. You know what I mean? So I want to be able to give back to them as much as I can.
That's cool. That's really cool. I do see one question. Studio is asking, can you go somewhere to find any of your music that you've created, or if any of it's in your own videos? So he's asking for your original music.
All my bands have been grindcore bands, so those songs like 30 seconds. So I haven't really used them for any of my videos. Maybe like a transition here or there. But you can go to my first band was called Gripe. And you can just go to gripe.bandcamp.com to look them up. My other band was called Bum Feeder. You can just go to bumfeeder.bandcamp to look them up. And then Inhale was my most recent band. And that's, again, on Bandcamp. You just type in inhale.bandcamp.com. All the albums are free. Any music I've ever made is free for digital. I don't believe in charging money for digital things. So you can download all our albums, all our songs for free. If you wanted like a CD or a record, then you got to pay for it. But I think those are all sold out at this point. Again,
cool.
Gripe, all my band's music, not copyrighted, all free digitally. You know, since we talked about that earlier, I had the option to not copyright it. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. We'll pay for the record. We'll pay for the recording and everything. We'll make money back on merch. But I want everybody to have our music that wants to just listen to it, you know. I think it's more important than making a couple bucks.
Yeah, that's awesome. Put it out there.
Which is all we would do. We'd literally make just a couple bucks. So I'm like, just put it for free. I don't care about the $4 we would make or whatever. Same with my videos, you know, same thing with monetizing.
Very cool.
Yeah,
XJet
XJet, you can use all the music you want. Yeah. XJet, please. I dare you, in fact, XJet, I dare you to use one of my bands in one of your videos. I'd love to see how you could sneak in some grindcore in one. Although XJet does have like that little metal intro in his videos when he does the like XJet rants, it plays metal.
That's true. That's true. All right.
Just switch that up.
We'll be looking out for it in the next video coming out. XJet video.
Oh, Vampire's kid wanted to know if I'm going bald. I'm taking the $5 back. Vampire, tell her the $5 is now off the table. Maybe I'm going bald. Maybe I should thank her for pointing it out. I don't think so. I'm going to go obsessed with it after the live stream, though. Tell her thank you for that.
I am, so I'm wearing a hat, and then you can't say I am not. So
I got hats ready to go for when it happens. I'm prepared.
It's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 41. I'll be 41 next week. So I feel like something's got to give.
That's old in FPV years, that's for sure. Kids these days starting so young.
Idea.
Like you said, 5 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah, and a ripper too at 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Vampire was wrong. I'm not going bald. Good. Okay, I'll take it.
You can sleep tonight. Good.
Tonight, maybe, yeah.
Well, I think we'll wrap it up here, guys. I really appreciate you being on the show, DJ, Botgrinder, and everyone who's joined us live here. That's been a really fun time getting to know a little bit more about you and your FPV experience and who you are. I appreciate who you are, too, within the community and the content that you create that we all have for our enjoyment, seeing someone else, a pilot fly, and kind of getting to be a part of your world a little bit through your video. So I think that's really cool. And thanks again for doing that, and keep it up. And we look forward to, from GetFPV, working with you in the future, carrying products that you help bring to market and stuff like that. So whatever we can do to help support you, we're part of that too. So thanks again. And we'll be happy to continue that in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, GetFPV has always been there for me, man. Been messing with y'all for a while now. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on the show. This is great. I love getting to interact with the community, like any chance I get, like talking about myself. This is a win-win.
Win-win. Thanks again, everybody. We'll shut it down here and check us out next week. We'll have another one coming. And thank you, Bot.
Thank you.